a family.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Spinner Rack. I'm here with the crew. PD and Cal, say what's up, gents?
What's going on?
Hey, ready to rock.
Today we're talking about the Fantastic Four First Steps trailer. Select
as a group. Now
Yeah,
you get a group response.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was like, didn't we talk about this already?
Oh, well then, hey, it's a group response. Hey, so, gents, you know, the question is whether or not this.
You want to watch it again to refresh our memory?
Not really. I've seen it once too many times. So
okay, cool.
I'm good.
So look, you know, the question here that I'm going to ask you guys: do you think that this Fantastic Four trailer really represents what we're going to see in the movie? Yes. Does it make sense? Will it bring people in? So I'm going to pass this on to someone who's objective most of the time, but can be bought very easily. Cal.
But you know what? I can't say if it can be bought very easily or not because nobody's tried. So hey, try your luck. Who knows? You got enough money, you might actually get there. The way you phrase that, I'm not 100% certain as to is what we see in the trailer, what we're going to get in the movie. I would hope so. I would hope that what we see in the we don't go to the movie and then we get a movie about Red Sonja as opposed to the Fantastic Four. So we should see these particular scenes in the movie. I thought this was a much stronger trailer than what we got originally, which when I saw that, it just looked like they had no cohesive concern for this film at all. It almost looked like some slapdash stuff, to be quite honest. But I did find this to be a stronger trailer. As for whether or not this is going to pull people in, your guess is as good as mine. This Fantastic Four movie would have been perfect around, say, 2008 when the Marvel movies were first coming out, but they have no lead in. The general public has no idea who the Fantastic Four are, and so they're pretty much on their own. So we'll see.
Very nice. Very well done, Cal. PD?
Well, for me, it's more, I mean, I talked about this before, but it's tough. And it also falls on the fact of having to have the looming shadow of the Avengers. So, we've only known that, I don't think the first two are forgettable, but they are forgotten. You know, they have a loose memory of those. And then the third one is definitely an eyesore. So you have that sort of thing. And then you have this. And so is the audience buying into it on the, you know, they were okay with the first two. They weren't big successes. The third one, that was a total bomb. And now we've seen this thing put up again. So this is the hard part, which is why I really wish, as far as the costumes, the only one who really looks good in costume is the Thing. And he's like, you know, in the form-fitting type of Shannon Sharp type outfit.
What are you wearing? Because you are looking absolutely fly.
Pants or slacks or Caesar Angelini. Shoes are Gucci. Jacket is a Gents Playbook. And it's put together by Shelley Davis.
But at the same time, this is the best looking thing we've gotten so far. So if the audience is going for that, to see something like that, and maybe in a trailer closer to the day, you see some more action with the Thing, that might be the draw. And of course, because that's what a lot of the creators in the 70s, like you see the comic books in the 70s, they mostly centered around Johnny and the Thing. So, and they almost felt, I think even Roy Thomas kind of felt like trying to do Stranger Tales when they tried to save it, the Human Torch story, by adding the Thing, and it's still kind of, the dynamic of the Fantastic Four is the Fantastic Four. As long as you get Reed right, you can do a solid Fantastic Four. I mean, Sue has found her voice later at times. She was always a strong character in the 60s. And then, of course, in the 80s, she kind of found her voice. And they kind of propelled her on to be bigger after that. So she'll probably be the later versions of Sue, which was a lot stronger than the earlier versions. But the earlier one version was mainly, very familial and definitely protective of her family. So you'll see a little of both of that. So the hard part is that we've had this property, and I think, it's trying to, instead of selling us on kind of the what's that thing I keep saying? The World's Fair / the Jetsons type of thing. You know, give the audience something a little more in this. But I mean, everyone's been saying the Fantastic Four needs to be in the 60s. I never felt like that, but because all the Marvel characters are still kind of 60s based. They just kind of look past some of their beginnings to say, oh yeah, it works now in this present day. You know, Iron Man, Hulk, even to some extent Spider-Man, because it was, you know, a nuclear, you know, radiated spider. So it's just, you know, on the fourth try. It's the fourth try to charm. I hope it is. Anything else I want to say? Yeah, I really wish they kind of, for the regular people, for regular characters, I really wish they worked on the tail end and not have it too, you know, like jumpsuits. Like they should have been at least. I think the tailoring could have been a little bit better, but really to sell this so the costumes look good, like Johnny's and the thing. I think the thing is where it works. The other ones, it doesn't. So I'm hoping for the best. And the other thing is that seems like there's going to be a big tragedy towards the end because they're bringing up the family part. So this means where a lot of writers go to is like saying, you know, the pressure is on Reed, but then they say we need to have Reed do something even more terrible. So I think they're leading up to, with all this the niceties that we're seeing, we're leading up to a big tragedy to kind of sell this. So, you know, because we're having the family, we talk about family, and then something happens, and you know, it could be just them coming to the present day or something else. But if the tragedy works and it gets closer to the comic books, it could be a good thing also. But that's what I feel.
Well, I mean, well, thanks, P. I see your points there. There's a lot of hope, even though there's some negativity in what you just pointed out. You know, there's a lot of hope that you want things. But I mean, for me, and I'm going to tell you straight off the bat, and I know you guys are not going to like it.
Here we go.
You know, Fantastic Four was never one of my top comics at all. You know, there were some things that I did like and stuff, but overall was very low in the totem pole.
The Fantastic Four suck, right? They suck, full stop. They're sort of like Marvel's first attempt to make a group, and they suck, right?
And the very fact when the first batch of movies came out, you know, with Jessica Alba, I mean, of course, she's the person we remember the most, and what's his name, Captain America now. Chris Evans, and the main actor, I can't remember his name, but when they came out, you know, it was a hit. You know, people went out to go see the movie. That movie did, I think, reasonably well. It was a hit, at least the first one, and I think the second one did great. Didn't do too bad. Third one was definitely underperformed.
There was no third one.
There wasn't. Oh yeah.
Talking about the third one from the other people, right? That's what you mean.
Yeah. The third one from the other people, right? The third one from the other people. So
what third one from the other people?
Michael B. Jordan. Michael B. Jordan.
But that
had no connection.
That had no connection to the.
I know, but it was still Fantastic Four. So the point is that it underperformed, and you know, again, I don't know who was asking for this. I don't know why they were asking for it, and you know, now we get this trailer of a Fantastic Four 1960s retro look, and the first thing I tell myself is why again? You know, why do we want to be in the 60s? Why do we even have some of the characters that were in there?
Because they think it's stupid. Because they think it's stupid.
Why are we still in the multiverse? You know, why have we not moved on? And so for me, it just does not resonate the way it is. Does the thing look okay? Yeah, the CGI looks generally good. Does Mrs. Invisible, Sue,
Invisible Woman,
she looks fine. She's fine. You know,
or Mrs. Fantastic.
I don't think anybody calls it, but Mr. Fantastic looks fine. Pedro Pascal, but does this really?
No, he looks like Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, he doesn't look like. He doesn't look like Reed.
But I'm saying, does he resonate? None of this stuff really resonates. And so the only thing I can think of is two things. One, that this is a precursor. This is definitely a multiverse story, and therefore, you know, these characters are going to be thrown away or changed for the upcoming Secret Wars movie, where they're either going to die, you know, or something's going to happen to them, and that probably this may be a precursor to us getting who we really want, you know. Krasinski
really want
is white. Krasinski.
What?
Yeah, he was in the other movie, John Krasinski.
What are you talking about?
The smartest man alive, Reed Richards of the Fantastic Four. Hello, Stephen.
You talking about the guy from he's saying the other person who played in Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
The one they killed. You mean the one they killed off?
The one
Yeah.
that everybody's been saying should be Mr.
No,
Fantastic.
no,
You know what I'm trying to say?
no.
Whether you guys like it, there's a whole contingent of people who
So
definitely
they
like
kill him so they get the guy they already killed?
him and Emily Blunt.
Because I just don't think it's an organic fit for me. I'm a bit of a dinosaur.
I don't know. No, it's the multiverse. Remember, keyword. Multiverse.
You're making them. You said you wanted to be out of the multiverse, and you're making up a multiverse story now.
I'm saying he should have been the main one. It shouldn't have been this dude, Pedro Pascal. That's what I'm trying to say, bro.
No,
neither. That's neither here nor there. But the thing is, they killed him off in his first appearance. So that's that. You know, you can see how much commitment they had to him playing this particular role.
Well, I mean, it's the same thing they did with the Wolverine, where they had different incarnations. We had the Cable Wolverine and stuff like that. Yeah, this is just what people wanted. They showed it. I get it.
With the gag? You talking about the gag?
What are you talking about?
In Wolverine, Deadpool and Wolverine, they had Cable as the Wolverine also, right?
You were doing so well. You were doing so well.
So
your haters bringing out all this craziness. You're talking about against the multiverse, and you want them to do a multiverse change.
I want them to come back to what it was. But look, let's not knock it. Let's just.
What does that? No, hold on. No, hold on. What does that mean? When you say you want them to come back to what it was,
I want Krasinski, who was the first Mr. Fantastic they showed. He looked fantastic in
No, but that would mean,
and I want him to be back into it, because this dude to me seems what Reed Richards would be like, right?
Okay, well, since that's not going to happen, we have what we have here.
Okay, so that's why I'm going back to the trailer. I'm going back to the trailer.
I think the 1960s. I think the 1960s approach is.
Dude, I'm not done.
Yeah. Because I'm you're done.
I said the problem that I have, like I said, the 1960s
original.
Wait. So I'm not done yet. You know?
No, you're not done. No, you're done. You're done.
Continue what I'm saying.
About anything.
All right. We got.
I'm not finished until I'm finished. What I'm saying, right? So we're getting back to this whole thing.
Petey, cut the mic.
It doesn't work, right? It doesn't work. Now the Galactus thing, I like Galactus, and I think that's probably going to be one of the hot spots, because we really haven't seen Galactus in this particular format before, right? The question is he small enough in this particular? But it's a teaser, so it could mean nothing. So
is he small enough? Is he small enough?
Is he small enough to be just a little bit taller than the friggin' Liberty? He has to be humongous, man.
He is humongous. Look how big that is. He used to stand in the city in the fights against the Fantastic Four. Now he's bigger than the statue.
All right. No, see, okay, you're just spitballing now. You don't have anything to say.
I like Herbie.
Vanessa Kirby, you're saying.
The fact that they feel that the Fantastic Four works, or only works for that matter, in a 1960s setting, shows that I don't know if they read the original comics, but they don't have an understanding what was going on. The Fantastic Four appears first in the 1960s, but everything they're doing is futuristic.
Yes, thank you.
So if you understand the characters, these characters don't need to be in the 60s. You can put them in 2025, but now you got to do what Kirby and Lee were doing, and you've got to push your mind 50, 60, 100 years into the future as to how you're going to make these applications of the common day things that we would do that the Fantastic Four is so far ahead of. Things like unstable molecules, so they can wear these outfits and they don't have a problem with it. You know, going with different iterations of the Fantastic Car. All of these particular things that they were doing. You know, when they get to meet the Black Panther and he has that techno jungle. These things are futuristic. We take them for granted now. But these things were decades ahead of anything that was being done, you know, in regular comics in terms of science fiction. That was one of the draws to the Fantastic Four. Here, it's like, well, we got to make it retro. The Fantastic Four was never retro, never should be retro. So that right there, when you see that, it's like, I don't think you guys understand the appeal of these particular characters. Now, the audience may not care because, again, as I'm learning after watching the new Spider-Man cartoon, people have no idea about the foundation of these characters, and they don't care. If they're entertained, they're entertained, even though I think they would be more so with people who understand why these characters are so entertaining. But, the other stuff you're talking about and harping on, who is it, Straczynski being Mr. Fantastic is neither here nor there. Pedro Pascal looks nothing like Reed Richards. He's not presenting like Reed Richards at all, but people may just want Pedro Pascal, and that'll be the end of it.
I don't know. I think that first, going back to the whole 1960 thing, I sometimes think Marvel, watching all his stuff, their TV stuff and their movie stuff, is you're saying, hey, you know what? Hey, we've never done a 1960 stuff before. Or we've never done a horror film. We've never done a fantasy version. So let's try something different. Oh, we've done all the other stuff. It's like they seem bored as opposed to saying, hey, how do we make the stories that we have here really work, right? And the point that you make that this is really, these guys were pushing the envelope in terms of, the futuristic look and the things that they were doing. I think that makes a lot of sense. But did they get it? They didn't get it. But they also didn't get that, hey, people don't want to necessarily see the 1960s or the 70s unless it makes sense in the story. And the first thing you have to start with, does it make sense in the story? And this is where I go back to this is probably a multiverse movie show that they're going to use this to introduce them into it. And who knows, it's going to be a change eventually. I can't see them all continuing onward in this. I don't see Pedro Pascal as being the guy, and Pedro Pascal is a fine actor, but like you said, he doesn't present as Mr. Fantastic, right? He's a total different character. If we say, hey, we don't care, off the rails, these characters can be whoever they want, then, Ben Grimm is the new Hulk,
But I think your point is saying that, like who's it? Like Pedro Pascal being a ringer, so adding a dramatic effect. So then we have the rest of these guys running around, and Pedro Pascal can go back to his day jobs, his many day jobs.
Many day jobs, exactly.
So, but that would really kill the whole point to say we really don't think Reed Richards work. We don't think he works, but at the same time, this is why that's why it was harder, even though that people liked the dynamic of the 70s because it was kind of lighter. It was lighter, not as much tension as as the 60s, as Stan Lee and Jack Kirby's, but it was always Reed kind of, leading it forward and Ben and the Torch stealing the show. But the way they wrote it was still like, all right, this guy's the leader, and then it's the moments between Johnny and Ben would be the moments stealing the show, and then the creators that got on it after, like, well, these guys are the star, and then Reed will come in with some information about something else, or he might do something ridiculous like turn off on Franklin's mind, and then the team has to try to bring Reed and Sue back together. It's not till where they kind of go back to, and it's a dynamic of the movies, like where the Fantastic Four, dynamic of the 60s movies, of the, the Renaissance astronaut that can go, build, go to another planet and build, like, or Taylor, who was in the Planet of the Apes, like Charlton Heston, like that sort of thing, a person who can survive with no technology, and or if you give him technology, he can build you a whole civilization. That's what you're trying to go for.
I'll never forget that day, the adventures we had and the ones we will have.
If they do, what you're bringing up is a valid point, and stuff that Cal is saying that they're kind of showing their struggle with it. This I want to point out, say, like when you look at the spaceship flying off, all this stuff is public, right? All this stuff is taped, everything is seen, which we lose kind of the thing in the comic books where they're stealing their rocket, they're going off by themselves, and it's the visual possibilities of them sneaking in and doing that stuff where you say, well, whether it's real or not real is a powerful visual, but they're like, this isn't working. Even comic pros, I think Marv Wolfman and Lean Wen, when they were critiquing John Byrne, and then they started tearing apart Stan and Jack, saying, hey, all this stuff is ridiculous. It's like, no, as a kid,
say that again. Say that again. Say that last part again.
They're saying all this stuff is ridiculous.
There you go. Now you got it spot on. Because they're trying to explain stuff. Yeah. They're trying to explain stuff that we don't need an explanation for. They get on this rocket, then it becomes, well, how did they get on the rocket? There's no way you could sneak on a rocket. You got all the security and you have all these other things. But from a writing standpoint, they're putting themselves in a box, because now I'm like, well, I can't write that, because in my mind, there's no way that you could ever sneak onto a facility like this, get onto the rocket, and there would be all this, and they would a rocket takes time to blast off. There's just no way it could ever happen. And so you lose that aspect. But then what happens, the characters also lose agency. Now it becomes everything has to be connected to something else. They're public figures. They're always funded by the government or some agents, shadow agency, if you will. And we lose, that uniqueness of what these stories are supposed to be. These were just supposed to be 4 individuals, okay, who were fired up by this particular reason. Or rather, it's Reed Richards who's like, look, the time is now. I got to get this done. Of course, Ben is, him and Ben are like, been friends forever. Okay, so he's like, of course I'm down with you. Johnny and Sue, because they're related and because Sue's, attached to Reed, that's how we get the 4 of these guys going off. That's what we actually need. The other stuff over here where they're making, how do we do? Like, no. That's inconsequential. It's inconsequential at the end of the day. But, okay, they take that away because, again, just like you're saying, they think it's stupid. They think it's ridiculous. And they keep trying to make sense out of something that they don't have to. It's fiction. You don't have to make sense out of it.
And I'll just jump onto that one other point. When everyone explains how Johnny and Sue going into space, all the problems people had with X-Men Dark Phoenix, nobody complained. They took all of the young X-Men in the Blackbird into space.
Ladies and gentlemen of NASA, this is the voice of Charles Xavier. Could somebody please apprise me of the situation?
We were picking up solar flares. We believe the heat shorted out their electricity. They lost control, communication, orientation, pretty much everything.
Not to worry, Mission Control. Help is on the way.
I think this is not as much fun as I thought it would be.
To save something, and no one said they're not trained astronauts. No, everyone knows, hey, it's a comic book. We're suspending disbelief and we're just having fun. They went out into space. So it's like you can tell, America, space station's about to get hit with a solar flare. The X-Men will take care of it. The government's like, how? None of them are trained. Where did you get a ship that can go into space already? Like, where did all this stuff happen? Oh, well, we know we're public figures now. We saved a world against apocalypse. No, stand down. That if you take that, but every time the X-Men go into space, people are like, oh yeah, it makes sense. A claustrophobic woman from Kenya, a feral, a guy, and a Russian farmer. Like you put or acrobat. You put an acrobat in there, and I guess it goes Cyclops. He's been to space a couple times, so maybe space worthy.
Sounds like the introduction to Dungeons and Dragons. Cavalier and acrobat.
So it's like
getting back, getting back into the thing. What do you think about some of the elements they had in the movie? Such as Herbie.
Herbie, I'm not with. I never liked the cartoon with Herbie. I think maybe having Herbie kind of be someone like a babysitter to Franklin, but they're not even doing they're doing Rosie. This is Rosie from the Jetsons.
We do have one old demonstrator model with a lot of mileage. Rosie!
Coming, sir. Here I am, sir. Yes, sir.
The old girl's still eager, isn't she? But of course...
Wow, that's low.
I can see it
that's
now.
low.
Wow. Good point. But it was fun, and I think that what are they trying to?
Are we gonna get Astro?
Kids and stuff like that. We're trying to get something where it's fun for kids, and for those they're like probably looking in terms of marketing. Hey, we have this little robot.
Kids enjoyed Fantastic Four #1. It was not meant for an adult. It was never meant for an adult, and kids always liked it. Every time adults come in and say, "Oh, we got to make this stuff enjoyable for kids," what they really mean is we got to make this something that an adult can sit through for 90 minutes to 2 hours at the end of the day, without these guys deciding to abandon the kids in the movie theater altogether. That's what they mean. So kids Kids, it's not like kids don't know when something is good or not. Kids know when something is good when it sucks. They know.
Yeah.
They know. So if we go by the stuff that the kids liked, even if it was in the 60s, and then they always say the same nonsense. Well, kids are very different today than they were then. Really? What do you mean? They don't like good stuff? They don't want to be entertained? They don't have vivid imaginations? No. That's the nonsense that you say when you're trying to craft this because you want to you want to do like these Disney movies where it's for kids, but the adults still have some stuff that they can laugh at. So it's not just like a total 90-minute, teeth pull, for the mother and the fathers sitting in the audience at the end of the day. But these are not Disney characters. Okay? This is not a Hunchback of Notre Dame reimagined for kids. These were things that were already made for kids. All you got to do is do the stuff that they were doing that clicked with the kids originally. It's not a big deal.
Yeah. Well, this other thing. Someone brought it up on the website, on the YouTube page, that because of budgetary constraints, will we have Ben in clothing all the time so we don't have to see him? Because in the comic books, obviously he's mostly no shirt. He's just in trunks, right? And when he put on the costume in issue 3, he ripped himself out. It's ridiculous. It doesn't make sense to have a costume on. And this is I'll keep describing it as Shannon Sharp. But I say the tailoring on this, I wish this kind of went to the rest of it. But what do you guys think about him possibly being enclosed most of the time?
What do you mean? Who enclosed?
Ben, the Thing, in gear instead of having him just in trunks, like the way the Hulk is.
Oh, got it.
You got nothing to say, Mars?
He doesn't care at all.
I feel nothing for him. What I'm missing is what happened to Galactus and Doom. So you guys can talk about
Galactus is there.
Barely.
He's bigger than the one that Stan Jack did. Stan Jack one was just as tall as the building.
Whether he's clothed or not, I just want to see if this movie's going to make it. That's what I got to say.
So you really think it's going to fail miserably?
Unless Doom and Galactus are really good. You know what I'm trying to say?
But they have the red ghost. I'm not sure if Doom is going to show up besides the end credit scene.
I thought he was supposed to be part of the movie, though.
No, Avengers Doomsday.
Okay. And I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just not feeling it. So
the thing should be in trunks. That's how the character looks best. The thing should not be naked with no ding-a-ling running up and down in the movie. That's ridiculous.
How long until he's in?
2 minutes. Might be a little less.
Why would you say that? Nobody's thinking that.
That was the third Fantastic Four movie. I was like, I don't understand.
Yeah, I forgot it. He's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. I forgot about that.
It's like anytime I think of that movie, that Chuck Berry song keeps going through my mind. I'm like, put some trunks on this dude. And then that goes right back to the comic. Because anybody who was wondering anything was like, no, Ben is wearing trunks for a reason. Okay, he's wearing trunks for a reason at the end of the day. So put some trunks on this dude.
The comic code.
There's 2 reasons: the comic code and Cal's reason. But okay. But the thing, this see his.
I just want to remind you, Cal. Next time, this is a family program. Please.
He didn't say anything.
Say
anything.
Pretty strongly.
Wow, that would affect. That was interesting. Keep going.
We should never have brought that up.
Sorry. But you see the tail. I think the tailoring on the Thing. If there was just a little baggier, then I think maybe these costumes might have worked. But I don't like the characters looking cheesy. I don't want them to look cheesy when they're.
And I don't like the Thing. I don't like the Thing as he looks over here. He looks like a stuffed animal. Put him in the trunks. Oh, maybe that's why they're doing it. So when they do like the plush stuff, they can sell the Thing as like a plush animal.
Who's that guy that just showed? That's
the Red Ghost.
Okay.
Malkovich.
I mean, look, the special effects looks great. They're definitely putting money into this. I don't know. So I got to see more before I can really get out of it. But I'm just not feeling it right now. So
yeah, what's the name has a extra super mock neck on. Johnny's, I don't know. And I don't know. Anyway, what else? Anything else?
Fantastic Car does nothing for me.
Yeah, I wish they went for what was in Deadpool, but what can we do? And
now that you said the Jetsons is really trying to think Jetsons every time I see this thing.
Yeah. But and what's the name? What about the Thing's voice? I think it felt like the actor when they had them on before the premiere. He was kind of. It said they asked him to do his clobbering time, and he was like, "Well, can everybody? Let's all do it together." I think it's kind of be like a booyah thing, like with Cyborg, where he's like, "Please don't get me trapped into a catchphrase." And I think in the Justice League, they said no catchphrases. You feel like what about Thing's voice? I'll just play a little of this stuff here. So.
Well, this movie's coming out July 25th.
Yeah, I'll be the judge of that. Okay. Okay, is this guy good or what? I want to add a couple cloves of garlic. Not because it's not delicious, I just want to add a little bit of zip, okay?
I'm sorry, the voice needs to have more bass in it, or gravelly.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Every time I've heard the Thing's voice, he's always it's more of a gruff, more gravelly.
When I think of how glad I was to hear Reed say the FF ain't gonna break up, it don't hardly seem possible I could get turned around so much in a couple of days. But my faith in human nature's taken a pounding lately. Makes me wonder if I'm really cut out for the superhero biz. Not much else a freak like me can do, but...
Like, the voice kind of matches his exterior, so this... I guess they were going for something different. No, he's a teddy bear. That's why he's got that clothing on, making him look like a stuffed animal.
You're going to the Joe Cena, you turn him into Fozzie Bear. Like,
yeah, there you go, right there.
Fozzie Bear.
Waka waka! The movie comes out July 25th, right? July 11th is when Superman comes out. And then you have Jurassic Park July 2nd. It is a very, very crowded time. And, I hope they have enough time to really get some wheels under this. Like I said, probably we're just seeing the very beginning. And, as time goes on, we're going to see the real story, and there'll be a lot more. It's much interesting. The writing's going to be fantastic. The acting, of course, is going to be good. Not knocking in the actors, and so it's going to fly off. And Galactus is just going to steal the show, right? And the Silver Surfer is going to swoop on down.
And you need to get to that, the female Silver Surfer.
And do her thing.
Oh yeah, hell no.
But up until that, this is
Is it going to be is the female Silver Surfer still going to be Shia LaBeouf?
They haven't said what the character is.
I think it's supposed to be. I think it's supposed to be Shia LaBeouf.
Okay. That. I mean, it feels like why Johnny's going up in the air. They're playing off of the Frankie Ray stuff, which seems to be like a holdover from the first set of films where they were going to do, where Frankie Ray was cast in the role. So it feels like they're going to just, all right, we're going to cut out her turning into it. She's going to already be a surfer. But, there's some, obviously they still got some budget things that they're struggling with, because I think people pointed out there's a scene with Reed here. Reed here. Supposed to be him stretching over there, and they're like, this is always going to be the hard. It seems like, even though the first thing, well, not the first thing from Roger Corman, but the first official thing was, had some issues, had some good points, had the voice and the actor was pretty strong, and that sort of thing. But the Reed scenes could use some more money in the digital stuff, and it seems like the Reed stuff here is going to be an issue too, but they couldn't put it into the thing. This whole area on the chalkboard where it's dark, like all that, they say he's supposed to be stretching, probably doing calculations on this, and they're like, we couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. So, I bring that up to say, us not seeing the Silver Surfer yet either. So we're seeing, crazy the Red Ghost.
Just have Reed Richards, between Reed Richards and Johnny, between those two abilities, that's money. that you got to spend to show those abilities correctly.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we saw very little of Reed stretching in the original 2 Fantastic Four films. You want to throw in the Silver Surfer, which took most of the budget in the second film, and you want to throw in Galactus. And this time, we don't want him to be this misty, cloudy Galactus. We actually want him to be solid. So there goes more of your budget. And that's why we have the Thing running around looking like a crazy.
Well, I would say the other thing to save money, which they don't seem to want to think about, is she's called the Invisible Girl. Like, not the translucent girl. So to have all these translucent effects, that show that, like, as much as you can to keep it invisible, and then cheat what you can to, to show some effects, so it doesn't just look like, I think the Joker that who's that guy that they have issue with. I don't have any issue with her, holding her hands up and us not seeing anything. But for most people, like, they're not believing it. The studio's like, we don't believe she has a force field. It's like, well, it's invisible. No. I can't see the force field. Sorry, it's invisible. Like, no, I need to see something there. Can you put some effects there? So it seems like they always, they did with Jessica Alba. I can't remember with the other film, but yeah. All right, Mars, you have totally you ejector seated this episode. You totally bailed on it.
What do you mean totally bailed on it? I was involved in it.
No, we asked some questions. You were like, I'm out, but you did answer the thing. I'll give you that. You did answer the thing. So.
I mean, come on, man. This stuff Fantastic Four.
You almost objector seated the whole thing, like in Captain America. But anyway, all right, so close it out.
Hey, we hope it gets better.
This is what I'm saying. You're out.
Yeah, that's that. Come on. It's not that. It's not that
Lord.
bad.
It's not that bad. It really isn't, huh?
No, it's not that. Look,
I think it's going to get swamped by Superman, and we're going to forget about it.
Oh, that was the last thing. So you think that Superman is going to kill the Fantastic Four? DC is going to beat Marvel?
Oh yeah, I think it is. That James Gunn did a pretty good trailer.
Okay.
It's engaging. Has new characters. Is bringing out. It's brighter, and it's not taking us back into the 1960s. It's here and now.
All right, so we got to go to Cal. Do you think Superman is going to kill the Fantastic Four? Marvel.
When is the release date for the
July 11th for Superman, and July 25th for Fantastic Four.
No, that's enough time. I mean, what? That's almost
2 weeks.
Yeah, it's about 2 weeks. That's enough time for the Fantastic Four to have an audience. And you may have, I mean, to be very frank, Superman would have to be doing very well to push those guys to the side, because the average audience, it's like, 2 weeks? And then they want to see something else. Or a week, and then they want to see something else. So when you get into 2 weeks, you're really getting repeat business, where people are like, hey, I would rather come back and see this than to see something new. So I think that there's enough time for, I think that's enough time where if the Fantastic Four debuts, they can still reach a good number of people, and Superman won't be like just taking everything away from them at the end of the day. Now, what comes after the Fantastic Four is released, that's what you really would worry about more so than what the lead is previous to it.
So then I would ask one last, first to you, Cal. Do you feel that Marvel is saying, okay, there might be some goodwill to superheroing with Superman coming out, and we'll follow them? You feel like Marvel is following DC on this one?
Yes, as they normally do. Yes, I think that they are. This is what I had said though years ago, that you want healthy competition between these two companies when it comes to the comics, when it comes to the cartoons, when it comes to all those forms of media, because if they're steadily competing with each other, we're going to get better quality of everything. And Marvel dropped the ball so significantly after Endgame that, they understand that people aren't tired of superheroes, but they're not clicking anymore with what they're offering. Let's let these guys go first, okay? And they can pave the way a little bit for us. And then if this is good and people like it, there'll be more goodwill towards the products that we're putting down the line in terms of Fantastic Four and other, and other films. Because trust me, they would have loved to have done that with Captain America, but there was no film coming out that could come over here and sort of part the waves for them. and so they could just kind of glide right along with them. They would love for Superman to have some coattails that they could last onto with the Fantastic Four as another superhero movie. As again, the Fantastic Four is going to stand on its own with no lead from Marvel. So hey, if they could get some sort of residual bounce from Superman, they would love it. So yes, to answer the question, yes.
But no, they are going to get a bounce from Marvel. It's going to be Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts is coming up Memorial Day weekend, and they're going to get a bounce from that. And they're probably going to have.
They're going to get a bounce from Memorial Day, May, all the way into July.
That's the start of the summer weekend. If Thunderbolts is good, it's going to give people, and they're going to definitely.
Big if. No, it's probably funny.
They're going to give it a good shine. I think it would be. If
it's going to give who a good shine? Superman or Fantastic Four?
Fantastic Four.
I don't think so.
That would be the best time to get all those Marvel audiences, and you put your best commercial, your best foot forward, until it comes back out. Because basically after that, everything's going to be Superman, and then, when you're going to have a chance. The oxygen.
I'm going to follow the same logic that I'm saying that if that film comes out and people like it, it's well received. Okay, I think that's good for superhero movies altogether. That's good for Superman. And if it's good for Superman and Superman is solid, good, well received, I think you still have the same the same sort of ripple effect with the Fantastic Four. However, what you will not have is if that film does poorly, okay, or if that film is lukewarm, that somehow it will still do it'll be good for the Fantastic Four, which doesn't have the name neither Thunderbolts or Fantastic Four has the name recognition of Superman. Superman can stand on his own without any of those two films as a lead, as a lead-in. That's the point that I'm making. So if Superman does well, that's great, for the Fantastic Four in terms of saying, okay, we're going to have some more goodwill overall towards superhero films. Fantastic Four doesn't do well, doesn't do anything for Superman. Same thing with the Thunderbolts. Well, if I'm making sense.
I just want to say one quick thing of saying that when I think that the sentiments you said is the sentiments that the president of Marvel said to John Byrne when he said, hey, I want to do both. And he said, well, what's good for Superman is good for the industry. So I just wanted to mirror the comments from that was the president of Marvel who said that. So.
But I don't think it's any way going to catch Superman. I think Superman's going to be huge. I think it just looks great the way it's coming out right now. And I'm not a Superman fan, and I'm excited.
Yeah, this is surprising.
This is true. I can say that.
This is surprising.
I'm more excited to see that. I mean, I have Captain America, Thunderbolts, Superman. That's what I'm looking at right now.
But again, I think Marvel's in a similar situation that I think you have a lot of people who want to see and enjoy a good Superman film, but that's because of all the missteps they did with Superman from 2012 with allowing Zack Snyder to be at the helm. So they're in similar situations where I think people want to go out and enjoy a good Superman film. They want it to be good. They just don't want to see a Superman film. They want to enjoy something good. And I believe it's the same with Marvel. Well, these people do want to come out and say, look, I want to enjoy this as well. So it's not, I don't believe it's mutually exclusive. It's a mutually exclusive situation.
The fandom has been very different, where they've been battling against DC versus Marvel. And I think
those guys need to get a life. They need to go outside, No, they don't. And this is for anyone listening because, it's still a podcast and I'm telling you to go outside at the end of the day. But you have to interact with people and you not interact with a phone or a tablet or a laptop or a desktop for that matter. Because when you're doing when you're interacting with those other four things, you don't treat it like you're interacting with a person. You treat it like you're interacting with an object. And in order to really enjoy this type of stuff, you need to actually talk to people and get a reaction, get a human reaction from people. Even if it's a phone call, that's better than any of the stuff that I've seen online. The internet it just does something to people. It really does. And so where people are talking, I mean, you could start off a conversation, oh, I don't like this particular costume for this character. And 300 comments later, this is the worst film ever. And it hasn't even come out yet. People will try to one-up each other, based on comments. They'll say things that they would never say in person. And what's more, they don't feel that they need to justify anything. I mean, they'll just flat out lie. And it's okay because you didn't lie to another person. You just typed something on a computer or a phone for that matter. So I'm trying harder to not feed that particular beast and also encourage people that, hey, we got to start using this as, what it's supposed to be. It's really not a communicative means, and it's maybe internet, but it's not good for interaction amongst people. You have to interact with real people.
All right. You're muted. You're muted, Moss.
I said I agree with you 100%. If you're not interacting with real people, you don't know what you're going to get. But sometimes real people interact with you with ways you don't expect.
Wow. Yeah. So on that note, we are getting out of here.
Please, because you need to interact with people.
Spin a rack.
Out.
We're out.
Out.